Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. Dad jeans. Dad jeans.
By the way, the most difficult tongue twister that exists in the world is the sixth sick sheep's sick.
Get that out of here.
Do you know that one?
I do, and I hate it.
Yeah, that's scientifically speaking, or linguistically speaking, the most difficult tongue twister.
Is that are actors trained to say tongue twisters? Like, is that a thing, a warm-up thing?
That's a great question. I do know this. They have little phrases when they have to jump into an accent that they learn to say a couple of words that jump them immediately into an accent. I know this from grad school because there was a time when the acting class was all learning a New Yorican accent, and the phrase that they used was "Isuzu Trooper." And they would go, Isuzu Trooper, like that. And so there was about a month where all the actors were saying in the bagel line at the bookstore, Isuzu Trooper, to themselves.
Amazing. And is that frowned upon now? What do you think, what's the difference between a region and an ethnicity? Like, when do you go over the line and doing a New Yorican accent would become offensive?
That's a fantastic, yeah, right. That's a fantastic question. If you're Becky from Montana, and you're like,
right.
Trooper, yeah, exactly. Like, what is the point at which it becomes cultural appropriation? Like wearing a kimono to a prom or whatever was getting everybody in trouble.
Right. Yes. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line, Brendan?
Where do you draw the line? Exactly.
In this day and age, I don't know.
It's the 21st.
Is there a line?
Are there lines in the 21st century?
These fucking Donald Trump. I'm coming in hot today.
Yeah, he's got a full tank.
These guys over here, they're just rushing to slaughter as many people as they can before the administration's over. All these federal executions.
Oh, my God. And speaking of executions, did you see that? Well, you mentioned last week that they'd built a working gallows. But secondly, that they were 60 seconds behind Mike Pence.
I saw that, which is like an amazing name for an emo band.
Or a Nicolas Cage movie.
Totally. Either one of those. An emo band that's turned into a Nicolas Cage movie based on the emo band.
Right. American Integrity gone in 60 seconds.
I have seen that. I don't know how much of that is just like trolling, people being like, come on, Pence, you fucking pussy. They were 60 seconds away from you. Like, would they really have killed Mike Pence?
That's what I wonder too. Like, this could have gone. There's another simulation or another, what do you call those things? Multiverse, where they got Pelosi, Pence, AOC, others.
Yeah.
And God knows what horrible things they did. And now people are writing think pieces and memes about how we should have unity, even though the Republicans killed two members of Congress and the vice president, and the line of ascension to the presidency, and there's martial law. There's all sorts of horrible fuck shows. So one of the humans did something virtuous last week that made it so that didn't happen. Thank God. Whoever you are out there, whatever you did, help an old lady pick up her newspaper or whatever, because when she tries to pick up her own newspaper, she farts and the neighbors laugh. Thank you.
Interesting. I wonder who did that? Who did that thing? Could it have been you or I? I did nothing virtuous.
Could it have been Eli?
Could have been Eli. Probably was Eli.
It's probably Eli. My smart money's on Eli.
I think that's an interesting point. There definitely is a different universe in which all of this stuff happened. And if it did happen, I haven't seen anything about like what would we have done? Like what?
Right. Especially
my assumption is, go ahead.
Especially if number two, then Pompeo would be president, I think. Isn't he fourth in line?
Oh God, really?
He's and Pompeo, of course, would then be found with bullet holes. Like, it's a whole thing. He went after, like, Trump. This is the thing, is that people then write the think pieces, and Fox News is like, it's not so bad that he tried to literally kill the two people in line for his throne in the last week in office. They're like, but, I don't think he really did that, except that he actually did it.
Yeah, he's always been a political naif.
It doesn't make... I mean, I just read the thing, like how the Republican Party is seen in the midst of a big, upheaval, and it's fracturing and splitting in half, and they're talking about civil war. Nothing ever of consequence happens to the Republican Party because they are choosing the side of the bully or whatever, or the bad guy.
Yes.
If you choose to be the bad guy, nothing bad ever happens to you in the United States.
You know who's going to win? Whoever's crazier.
Yes.
Like whatever, there is no rupture in the Republican Party. It's just a long road down to hell.
Yeah, right. And do they take us all with them? And I mean, I just imagine all these gravy seals coming up against the most ridiculously overfunded military in the history of the planet Earth.
Yes. Well, okay.
Would they?
Sorry.
What'll happen?
Did you have more?
I mean,
what'll happen?
I just imagine that they're just going to be, prostrate across the landscape to the horizon, I think, right?
Maybe, I don't know. I remember the one thing I recall about our our Make America Again episode, the first episode post the election in 2016, is you had a very strong feeling about what was going to happen when Donald Trump encountered the Joint Chiefs of Staff, how he would be cowering before them. Mm-hmm. Which they're not. Hey, man, nothing bad on you for thinking that maybe there was some shred of decency left in the world
or depth. But I know,
or depth, but nope, or institutional knowledge, but nope.
Yeah, because every other president, this is what I did not, this is the factorial or the factor that I didn't put into it. Every other president paid attention during the Joint Chiefs briefing and was like, that's scary. And they didn't say Trump enough.
You know who he is, which I never thought about this until just this minute, and it's shocking that this hasn't been a meme for the past 4 years. He's the mayor in Blazing Saddles, Mel Brooks. Where it's just signing things. He's like, I love you, boys. Blah, 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 blah. Sticking his head in the girl's boobs.
Oh, right. Hello, boys. I missed you. And stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, he's a governor. I remember he's governor because he has more GOV on the back of his jacket.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. He's an absolute clown.
Yeah. Yeah, the most dangerous clown of them all.
There's no other kind of
the
clown.
Laughing on the inside clown.
But a dangerous clown. There are only dangerous clowns.
I guess that's true. I've always wanted to just my anti-gra would be finding clowns funny.
Yeah.
I would love to just go against the grain and be that guy who's like, I really enjoy clowns.
I go to the circus for the clowns.
Yeah, exactly.
The best part.
Not in spite of. Brendan, I have one thing to say in this intro, in this upfront section. Mm-hmm. The front matter, if you will.
The matter that goes up front.
The matter that goes in the front. But I'm going to finish eating my bagel here off air. So if you can vamp for a few minutes, that would be amazing.
I can absolutely vamp. I'm going to tell you a little bit about clowns. Here's the thing about clowns, Jeffrey. The problem with clowns is that they... Oh, you're chewing so sensually, it's really hard to keep my train of... The problem with clowns is I've lifted the hood. I've looked underneath into the world of actual clowns themselves, and there was a long stretch where I wanted to be a clown. Had you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, from the age of 5, honestly, until about as a freshman in college, it was clown. And
the tradition of clowning, like oh God, what's the guy's name? He's got a top hat. Is his shtick? He's like a famous actor. He's on Sesame Street.
Yeah, it'll come to me. I know it'll come to me. Yes.
Yeah. But he's fantastic. He's amazing. Physical comedy.
Bill Irwin.
Bill Irwin. Yes. If you're a good physical comedian, it's dance.
It's amazing.
Dance,
yeah. But just like there are no left-handed second basemen, there are no good physical comedians under 6 feet tall.
Oh, I bet that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. You need the arms and legs. So I just didn't have the framing advantages.
Okay. You couldn't go akimbo.
Yeah, I mean,
Properly.
I can do all sorts of like stuff, but it doesn't look like anything. There's no information coming off of me because my arms and legs, to proportional to the average human body, just don't create enough churn in your visual stratosphere or whatever. So
There's humor in stumpiness, though. Can't you be the stumpy clown?
I could be, but I'm not stumpy enough either. I'm not lanky enough. I'm not stumpy enough. I'm the straight man in the clown world.
Neither lanky nor stumpy.
Right, exactly.
Yes,
Nor stanky nor lumpy.
I might object on one of those, but
I hope it's lumpy. Come on, lumpy. Come on, lumpy. So but clowns are way too serious about clowning. It's like a religion. It's basically the Scientology of the arts.
I've seen that. I've met a few clowns in my time, and they're snobs. Like they're
snobs.
Yeah,
and very serious.
That's all they do is clowning. It's kind of like puppetry people are somewhat similar. Although I think there's like a little bit of a self-deprecation to like puppet people don't have a chip on their shoulder, so they're not annoying, but
right.
They're very like they're very into puppetry. Like they have no shame about being into puppetry.
No, certainly not. Yeah. But you also get a sense that you're scratching the surface of a whole world, and they want you to have that they're like, yeah, well, it's a whole world. It's a whole world.
Right.
They say everything twice.
And do you think that that's because like the one person, or no, I've met couple of clowning people, but they're all like highly educated. Like one was in like the Yale School of Drama, I believe.
Oh yeah. Clowning is a huge deal at Yale. And there's this one guru that wanders the states named Chris Bays, who wrote a book and all this stuff, and he has like a bunch of acolytes that then teaches thing. I had this guy actually come to my house, and he was going to look at it. He was going to put a door in to the side of the house, and he's a contractor. And we met, and we instantly like fell into a deep conversation. And then I was like, "You look a little familiar." And very quickly it came up that he was Chris Bay's disciple, and he's a clown, and he's into clowning, and like what he does is to clown. And
wow.
He said, and I was like, "What got you into that?" But I had to ask it in a much more sort of supplicant, like, "How did you approach the craft of clowning,"
right,
or whatever?
Right.
And he said an interesting thing. He was like, my daughter was young. She was like 5 or 6, and I realized I didn't know how to play with her.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, wow, I salute you, sir. But it's like that level of heft and gravity to the whole enterprise, it seems.
Right. It's finding a religious, like you've seen the light and now you are a clown.
Which sends me straight to, can you imagine if, like, there are always people who find Jesus in jail, but imagine if clowning were just like half of Sing Sing was like serious clowns.
Wow. Well, yeah, and the other half was Crump.
Right. Oh God, yeah. And then the riots
probably begin. Yeah, that probably is what's happening right now, actually, inside Sing Sing.
Dance battles. Right. Yeah, clown dancing, like the way clowning snuck its way into it's really seems like it's a very deep in our motherboard activity.
Right. Yes. And why is that? What is that? What's the costumery, the performatry of being be costumed.
Right.
Is it our way of slaying the monsters? Is that what a clown is?
/ being gesturing for each other, as you were earlier alluding to, being each other's gesture in the face of, like, life was fucking awful until only basically when we were born. That's when things started to be okay. But like up until maybe like the 50s is where
50s.
And by okay, I mean that very limited group of people. But like before the 1950s, everyone was covered in lice. 90% of everyone's children died. People got hit by horses in the street. Everything was awful. And then like disease. If you made it to your 30th birthday, the mayor was willing to have sex with you or something like that because it was so
I think you just became the
odds.
mayor when that happened.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
They're just like, all right, you're in charge now.
Yeah. It was the reverse Children of Men. Everyone was having babies, but no one was alive. No one was alive because it was so horrible. And did I mention, plague, lice, pogrom, everything was awful. So
foie gras
for the geese. Can you imagine being a goose in this situation?
Oh, horrible. They're just everyone's feasting on your liver.
So the need to laugh, therefore, and laugh in the face of life's utter brutality, I think, is where this comes in. Comes in as a natural instinct.
Okay, but is it laugh? I'm so excited that we just got like off on a tangent about clowning. But is it laughter, or is there something more religious to it? Like, does it have its basis in like about the history of this stuff? Like, is there like it seems like I could see a dance with like a tribal dance or something where like the guys are wearing the masks. Like that feels very clown.
Oh yeah, like the Greeks were having the giant penis things and stuff like that. Yeah, like doing all sort of buffoonery. And and the wagon plays in the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages, where they would do the plays about the Jesus's crucifixion and stuff, and they would have all the different guilds in the town would take on a different wagon and do a different performance for a different part of the, I don't know what you call that, enunciation, perfunctoration, whatever the fuck all those long words are, where
sure
it would be the Bible stories once a year. The town would get together and do these plays on these wagons, and the carpenters were always the ones that did the crucifixion. But
okay, of course, makes sense.
Yeah, but the carpenters, before Jesus is like hoisted up onto the cross, they were all bumping into each other and knocking each other out with the hammers, and it was a total clown show, and everyone was laughing. Okay. Everyone would laugh hysterically, and they were like, they forgot the hammer, and who knows, like, how are we gonna do all this kind of stuff? And then the entire tone of the day changed when they hoist Jesus up on the thing. And of course, it's the Middle Ages, so I'm sure they actually crucified someone in the town because there were no special effects back then. So someone was
that was the mayor. That's what you got when you turn 30.
Right, exactly. You get crucified in the wagon plays.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing changed. But yeah, exactly. Like that level of like, is it irreverence? Is it it's counterpoint to how reverential, lightning and all that shit is.
There you go. Irreverence, reverence. Sure.
Yeah. So the sacred and the profane.
Sacred and the profane. Wow, we've gone deep. I feel like we're done with this episode.
I think we should probably say goodnight.
I don't think it can get much better than this. We figured out clowns. And that's why that's why they terrify us as well, because we have that push pull in our heads in which we feel like if we succumb to irreverence, then we are turning against our maker.
And will be smote.
Yes.
Smoot.
Yes. Exactly.
Yet
we will be smoted.
Yet at the same time, there's the whole thing of like I can't remember what the death wish thing with Freud, where you go on roller coasters to simulate your own death, so that and there's a part of our brains that needs to do that now and then.
Okay.
So maybe it's that also. Yes, we'll be smote.
Yeah.
If we engage in the profane, yet we kind of have to, or at least in a simulated way, or a safe simulated, the bishop has said this is okay way, so that we can get it out of our systems.
Interesting. And then we kill our fathers and sleep with our mothers.
There's that. That's pretty hot. No one talks about how hot Oedipus that whole story is.
I think if you go to any porn site, you will find that the entire front page is people who think that. That is hot.
Am I not alone in that observation?
No, I'm just like it seems like any porn site I've been to, it seems like incest is like top of the mind for literally everyone in this country.
Sacred and profane. There it is again.
There you go.
Profaning the sacred.
Did I push past you at one point? Did you have another thing you were going to?
I was going to say this.
The world?
Oh, yes, I remember. Yeah. And maybe this is where the turning point was back in the 50s.
Yeah.
Because I recently read this. It could be Howl by Mr. Ginsberg.
Oh.
because he, as I read somewhere, made the sacred profane and the profane sacred in a way.
Wow.
For the first time, where people were like, "You can do that," and then everyone started fucking and sucking.
Oh God, was it that? Really, it was that. He was that ahead of the game. Like, was he? Well, he was after Henry Miller,
and
like
Walt
Henry
Whitman.
Miller. Yeah, but Walt Whitman did it in a prissy way. You had to be smart to understand Walt Whitman.
That's true.
But that's interesting. I don't know much about the impact of Howell, but I know that I took a class on the beats in college, and I read Howell a number of times, and it is really quite. I don't know anything about poetry, but it's quite a good piece of reading.
It is. It's like injecting flesh directly into your brain.
Yeah, if you can stick with it, if you can sit down and just enjoy it. What's the fuck you and your atom bomb, or what is the? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. They should advertise it the way they advertise porn though, and be like, "You won't last 5 minutes through this poem."
No. Before you're spanking it. Yeah. I just read. Sort of speaking of, I just read The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison.
Oh, wow.
You know this book?
I know. Tell me more. I remember. I know of it, but I've never read it.
It's not the famous universal horror Invisible Man. It's about being a black man in 1940s and 50s America, basically. Mm-hmm. But it could have been written today. Like, it's very disarming how little has changed.
Yeah.
And B, it was so raw and right on and righteous, and he just had white America nailed, like in the way that we're just coming to terms with today. Like, there was no pussyfooting around. Like, he saw it all and he described it, and it's also like a wonderful like adventure. It's very like Oedipus, or not Oedipal, but Odyssean. No. What's the word I'm looking for? What was Odyssean? Achillean? No. Iliad.
Iliadian?
Odyssean. I don't
Odyssean.
know.
Sure, Odyssean.
Odyssean, sure. It's like what's that word? Is it pastoral? Fuck. I'm having trouble with my words today. What's the story of a man who like goes from place to place and sort of like has a series of adventures?
Voltaire.
I always think pastoral, but it's like Pasquinade. No, I don't know. Anyway, a lot of adventures, but it was a very impressive book. It like kind of blew my mind.
That is pretty. Yeah, I have the feeling. It's based on you saying this. I have no authority to be saying anything about anything, but it really strikes me that, in terms of that stuff, like Black intuition is so many hundreds of years ahead of anywhere we would ever get, you know?
Sure. Well, it's not just intuition. It's the lived experience,
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he wasn't like having to like figure that much out. He was just like, this is what it's like to be Black. And it's exactly the same as it is to be Black today.
Yeah. Wow. Jesus. Fuck.
Yeah. Crazy country, Brendan. But changing the subject once again before we get into our segments, how about the sea shanty phenomenon?
Oh, I was not able to click on that link in time, but I know it is a thing. Colbert did something about it. So the kids on TikTok are all singing sea shanties to each other?
Yes. Well, you know that feature on TikTok where you can respond to the other person's video?
Oh, you duet with them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Is that what it's called? The duet feature?
Yep.
So these are actual duets, but you've got like strings of them, and they're like 10 different people singing the different parts of these sea shanties. And it's so lovely and just like wholesome and nice. Like something nice is happening in the world.
Oh, yes. This is why I've always loved TikTok. There is so much of TikTok that is so wholesome. And just fun loving.
I feel that off of this.
Yeah, that is pretty excellent.
I mean, the Chinese Communist Party would have it no other way, Brendan.
I know. I think we'll be fine. Have you had? Oh God, we will be fine when everything finally goes sideways. Someone invades, takes us over, and we're just under a sovereign foreign power. Won't it be better?
When we learn the sea shanties.
When we learn the sea shanties, because we're going to be doing a lot of commuting by sea.
Yeah, exactly. It'll all be sea. Water world.
If we follow our usual schedule, Jeff, it's Sunday. Friday would be when this comes out. And we would be under a new presidential administration should, speaking of things going sideways, nothing have gone sideways.
Yeah, it's true. And by Wednesday, we will be paddling through the sea singing our shanties. We'll be recording this from our pontoon boats.
I think into a can on a string, and you can subscribe for free to the other end of the string if you bring your own can.
Yeah. And amazingly, we'll finally have listeners somehow.
Right.
That'll be the thing that gets us our listeners we've been craving all these years.
Maybe old Greg from down in the David Jones locker.
I'm old Greg.
I'm a downstairs mix-up. Make an assessment.
Lot of blackface in the Mighty Boosh. That's
yeah.
That's something we have to contend with.
And in British humor in general, which is very odd.
Oh yeah, the gollywogs.
All that. Oh yeah, everything. And then there even Little Britain did some. It's very strange.
They don't have but I think there's also a truth to from what I know, Europe has a very different. They're not like as racist against Black people as we are, or they are in a different way. There's different forms of racism in Europe, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not quite so embedded into the very motherboard
yes.
Except in Holland, those people have a lot to atone for. Those motherfuckers.
Well, there you go. It's not the original sin, I guess, over there.
Right, like it is here.
Their original sin was like, I don't even know, like crucifying Jesus, I guess, or whatever. Like the actual original sin was their original sin.
Right.
The apple. Shall we get into our first section? Advise me, bro.
Oh, let's get into our first section. Advise me, bro.
Advise me, bro. Cause I just gotta know. I got a motherfucking problem and you gotta show. Advise me, bro.
This seems like it might be kind of heavy. I'm reading the description here. What happened in your neighborhood? Do you have an incident report, Brendan?
Oh, I do have an incident. Should this be an incident report? This is an incident report, not an advise me, bro. All right, let's change. Okay, let's play that theme song. Ready?
By the Scituate Lighthouse. Jeffrey, what's going on out there?
It seems to be a kind of incident report.
I completely forgot about the existence of this segment.
Okay. We have an incident report. An incident has occurred.
An incident report. I know. And actually, this is an expansion on that whole thing. Okay. So the other night, and I have to speak kind of quietly because Oscar tends to spy on me while I'm recording this show.
And you got these people with one bulb fucking living next door who are probably listening to every word, too.
Those people. They're home, but I never see them.
No, of course you don't. Because they get under blankets as soon as they get inside because they're scared of the heebie-jeebies coming out of the wall.
I think they simply must be. So Oscar and I were sitting in the living room 2 nights ago, and suddenly 8 GUNSHOTSs rang out.
Oh, jolly golly!
Right, 50 feet behind Oscar, like in the intersection. And we live on the corner. And so
like boom, 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 like that.
Yep. Yeah. Loud too.
And like, you knew exactly what you were hearing
instantly. Yeah. It wasn't the usual like shenanigans.
It could be firecrackers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Usually. And that's what we sort of advertised it as, but it wasn't that. It was like the real deal. And so I grabbed him and I yanked him to the floor of the living room and I got on top of him and I was like, get down. And I got on top of him. And
wow. While the shots were ringing out, like on what shot number? Like shot number 1 or how
5 probably.
How quickly do those instincts kick in?
They not quickly enough, but I would say we were probably on the floor in about 2.5 seconds.
Wow. So you can literally say you would take a bullet for him.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Actually, I hadn't thought
Yeah.
about that. Yes, because I did. I like threw him down. I got on top of him.
Wow.
But
okay.
it was, and it was awful. And he was really mad. And he was like, my heart is pounding. Can't you see what you're doing to me? Like, he was really nervous, And then all the cops came. And the helicopter came, and the tons of cops, and all the neighbors were standing outside. And I went outside, and unfortunately for Oscar, he really flipped out because I left because I wanted to talk to the neighbors and talk to the cops. And it was really awful for me to be gone. Later, I learned because he was really scared, and he was scared that I was now in danger, and 2 bullets went through my neighbor's living room window. So,
holy guacamole.
Yeah. So it's like,
that's terrifying, Brendan.
Fucking terrifying. And it was probably some sort of initiation. We live in the territory of the what's known as the Highland Park Egg Gang, and their rival are the Avenues, which are on the other side of Highland Park. And the cop, Officer Chang, is our local person, and he said at a recent community meeting, he was like, they were here before you guys were born. They'll be here long after you're dead. Wow. It's just a thing. And with the cartels, there is no stopping these guys. All we can do is have a full-time guy working with them. So it's like just how it is. And it's like, Jesus, that's scary. So in any case, all that happened, and I was really rattled. And Emily and I had like long talks. Like, do we leave? Do we change our bedroom? Like, change our bedrooms around? What do we do? What do we do here? I don't even know what to do.
Because Oscar's against the front of the house. Is that how it is?
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
Which I've actually never liked that. But now I'm like, it's just awful.
Right. Right.
And so I don't know. So I guess this was why it wasn't Advise Me Bro, but it is also definitely an incident report. I talked to one of the cops, and he was like, do you have cameras? And my street is famous, like on Citizen, the app where people report police incidents and stuff like that. People are always like, that street is always a problem. Well, yeah, that street right there, that's the one. That's the street. You know what I mean? It's a short little residential street, yet it is like, full. It is 4 blocks long, but it's apparently just this is why our house was so cheap. Actually, right. This is how I became a homeowner. So anyway, the cop was like, do you have cameras? And I was like, I've been thinking about getting them. And he's like, you might consider it. And so he was like, it helps you, it protects you, it helps us, etc. And so I've been going through all this stuff in my head. Like, I know politically speaking, gang injunctions are bad, but you catch yourself being like, how bad are they if this kind of shit stops, and these knuckleheads are like, are made so that they don't do this anymore, and so do I cover my house in cameras? You know what I mean? Like, and be some suburban. The funny thing is, people in fucking gated communities in the suburbs have these cameras for no reason, because they're already suburban, like, irrelevant schmoes who are just like, I have cameras all over my house for security because I live in, Idaho or whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas here we are, and I could actually be maybe catching some license plates and stuff like that. There's a house 3 doors down that's like where the dude is like a warlord basically, and there's always knuckleheads coming in and out, and there's and I think it's a drug fence, and it's like the whole thing is kind of a bad scene. So is that who they were shooting at? Where usually the last time this happened, they were like, someone pulled up in front of them and fired rounds into the air as a message. And then peeled out, But there's always like people driving or like peeling around and like driving really fast, and they're kind of like driving into each other's territory to kind of announce their presence or something, or do these like dares basically. And it's just all around my house, and it gets so fucking tiring and really annoying, because also their cars are, loud with the thumping and the stupid mufflers. So and listen to me, I'm like a fuddy-duddy. I'm like, get up my lawn, You know what I mean? I'm Clint Eastwood over here. You got to protect your family. I mean, no one wants people shooting like at your house. Yeah. But like, I need to know more. It was 8 shots just fired
just fired at a house?
Yeah.
Or what?
I think just
Were they spinning
sprayed.
around in a circle? How come only 2 hit?
I think
your
it was,
neighbor's
it was
window?
mostly in the air, and they probably lost control or something. Like I think it was driving. It was they were driving down this street, and doing this thing they do where they like shoot him in the air to be like, ha ha, take that,
Okay.
or something.
Okay.
And this I don't know. And maybe he like his arm leaned down. That's my guess. I don't think it was like this dude was a civilian, my neighbor. So
Okay. But if you had been walking around at that moment,
Oh,
if you had
yeah.
just been out for a nice stroll.
Yep, exactly. Which we are is our want with a dog. You know, like
Yeah,
that is our route. That's we go up there to go like we do. We'll go up that street all the time. So it's very fucked up. Like I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do about it. Do I get the cameras? Do I become an asshole? You know.
What are the cameras? Are the cameras a deterrent for people shooting at your house? I don't see how cameras would have helped you one bit in this situation.
Oh, in this situation, they wouldn't have helped, and they would be. My sense is they would be discreet, but they would catch license plates so that in the afterwards, I can like be of assistance to law enforcement. I can be like, this was the license plate and make of car that did this thing, and so now you can find them.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, but so then you have to have it like pointed. You have to have one pointed directly at the street. Is that how it works?
Yep.
I have, Brendan, if you want cameras, I can give you cameras. I got cameras, baby. Oh, I got cameras. The people who live, I mean, our house is a fucking fortress, right? Like we live behind this giant gate. Like, I don't know if the people who lived here before were drug dealers or what, but they were like very protective. So we have cameras on every corner of our house, which I've never turned on, that I'm just like,
Really?
yeah, I'm just like, what am I going to fucking do? I'm going to sit and watch the outside of my house. I'm going to watch the skunks wandering by. Like,
Right. That's the thing. Then become the guy in American Beauty who is in the military and then kills Kevin Costner or whatever the fuck that guy's name is.
yeah, you become gay. Exactly. You become closeted gay.
Oh yeah, they kiss at the end. Anyway,
Tom Skerritt? No, was not Tom Skerritt.
Robert Patrick? No,
some one of these guys. Robert Patrick is my boss at the article group. Interesting.
The actor?
No, there's a guy named Robert Patrick. And his middle initial is A, and so it always says Rap, Jeffrey Rap, and I'm always like on our meetings, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm being compelled to write a hip hop lyric or something.
What? And his middle name is Rap.
Yeah, his middle name is A something.
Oh,
so his
R-A-P.
initials are Rap.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was gonna say.
When it's like Jeff and Robbie talk, it's like Jeffrey Rap.
Ah, yes.
I don't know.
If you had a name, like I had a teacher in school named Peter Francis James, the man with 3 first names. And if you had a name that was, you had a last name that was a first name and a first name that was a first name, but your middle name was a last name, would you go by your middle name as a first name?
Oh, that's interesting. Like if his name was like, I don't know what his middle name is, but if it was like Robert Anderson Patrick.
Right. He would obviously have to go by Anderson.
Yeah. Anderson Patrick. I love it. Oh, Phil Spector died. How about that?
Whoa.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Yeah, off you go, mister.
Sorry. You should have died in 1972. No, when was the Ramones album? Like 1970. Let's say 879.
When did he bump off his was it his ex-wife?
Significant other. That was like early 90s, I believe.
Wow. Jesus.
I think it was just a girlfriend. But anyway, like if you want some free cameras, I can give you free cameras. I don't know how to hook them up. I don't know what to do with them, but I think they're probably really nice and expensive and
thanks.
doing me no good.
Uh-huh.
But B, I don't know, man. I mean, we had these incidents in my neighborhood. It's like, are things ramping up right now? Like what's happening out there? What's the
right? Well, in my neighborhood,
why are things crazy?
In my neighborhood, it's because a recent gang injunction expired, and so everyone's getting back out of jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone was arrested. This is an interesting aspect of this whole thing. Everyone was arrested in 2012, and that's actually when Highland, this neighborhood, started to kind of change and gentrify. And now everyone went away for 6 to 8 years, and now they're all getting out. And now now it's very interesting, this whole thing. And you see on Citizen people talking about this exact issue, like, you gentrifiers, get ready because everyone's getting out and all this kind. It's a
interesting,
fascinating bit of tension, of urban tension.
Is that citywide? Perhaps, like what? Like I wonder why it's happening in my neighborhood too. Like, is this a?
I think injunctions were very popular until they were extremely successful in so much as they put a bunch of people behind bars. I don't mean successful necessarily in the value way. And then a lot of lawsuits were brought in the mid teens against them because they are so draconian. And so then injunctions stopped happening. And so then and now the injunction, they're expiring.
Interesting. But see, Brent, Eli has made a poster that he would like to share with us.
Get me out of here.
Get me outside.
That is fantastic.
Can we make this the cover for our next episode?
Yes.
Amazing.
Thanks,
done.
Eli.
Cover art done.
So get me out.
That's amazing, Eli. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's an incredible pun.
we make a lot of cat puns around here.
That is pretty terrific.
So here's my question. Examining this from all sides, as we're wont to do as progressive.
Yep. We're not certain people. We're uncertain.
We try to be uncertain. We try to see things from different points of view. Mm-hmm. But you're in a gang, you get thrown into jail because of your gang with all the people who are in a gang with you.
Right.
You get out of prison and they've got your back all through prison. Mm-hmm. The most horrible experience of your life.
Yep.
You get out of prison and you're like, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, well, I'm done with that gang that like has saved my life for the last 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So
my allegiance has faded.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're a Takeshi 6ix9ine, you would, because you're a fucking pussy who doesn't and knows no allegiance. But no, if you're it totally makes sense. And there's no reform built into our prison. So it's not like the ideal situation is someone goes into prison and you spend those 8 years like job training. So he gets out, he can be an IT guy.
Yeah. Right.
And
exactly.
there's some funnel, there's like some program where businesses like get to work with, they can like hire, for like the government subsidizes your hiring of like ex criminals or something like that. Right. It's
right. Right. Yeah.
We just are such a punitive nation that we're just like, nope, throw them back out there and then they'll shoot someone and then we'll just put them back in jail. Right.
Make sure they stay poor. They can't vote. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And the other issue, I think, is that I would imagine the sales pitch is, all right, you've had an incredibly thrilling teen years, 20s. You had to walk down the street. You had to dive behind cars. It was basically a giant game of capture the flag where if you fucked up, you died. So your adrenaline has been pumping your entire life. What if instead of that, you got a job that was boring and you had to pay bills?
Pay you.
Yeah, exactly. And you had to get a house. And if you do that for 50 years, you might retire.
Yes. Yeah.
So
exactly.
That's the sales pitch right now. And that is the other problem is like life just isn't thrilling. Like maybe the answer is now you're going to be a spy.
Maybe what we should do is hire them to take out the alt-right.
Oh, yes. See, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, that can be our army. Maybe we can get the gangs working with us.
But I don't think they would be like, yeah, let's definitely protect like white liberals' way of life and gentrifiers. You know what I mean? So,
all right.
So the problem.
Well, that's why I say with us, not for us.
Yes.
I mean, we could get a little gangy too. Mm-hmm. Like you and I could choose a side.
I choose. I'm on the side of cat puns.
Is that one of the gangs?
The cat pun gang.
Yeah, you could be a crump. I could be a clown.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, that's how we could break it all down.
I saw the movie Rise about the dancing, and in the beginning there's this disclaimer, and it was lovely, interesting, fascinating, all that kind of stuff. But there was this disclaimer at the beginning that said, this footage has not been sped up. These people are actually dancing this fast. And I was waiting the entire movie to be like, wow, that isn't on fast forward, and I never felt that way.
No. It's just dancing.
It's just dancing. So I was like, it's a little fall. You can do that in the trailer, and then I'll go see the movie. But don't remind me and then let me down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's like the warning or at the beginning of the advice at the beginning of a concert movie where it's like, turn it up loud.
Yeah. It's like, don't tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to. Don't tell me. I'm not waving my hands in the air like I just don't care. Fuck you. Wave your own hands in the air. Brendan, I don't know the answer to your dilemma. It sounds rather scary to be in the middle of that. It's just like, it's like this is what we get when we live in America, anywhere now. Like, that's the thing. Like, you could be like fucking, like all these people who are just like, oh, they're coming to the suburbs for us. Like, no, you're coming to the suburbs for us, motherfucker. Like, you're the one who's going to be like, you see a Kamala Harris sign in my front yard, you're going to murder me. Like, that's the America we're living in now.
Yes, exactly. And those people with the stupid guns, the lawyers in St. Louis or whatever the hell, who came out into their yard because of the BLM protests going by. Yeah, like, there are guns all over the suburbs in the hands of conspiracy theorists, psychopaths. So it's not like you can. Yeah, there's no in the United States, as I like to say, from Canada, you can just hear machine gun fire and screaming. That's all you can hear across the border.
That's all, and that's just at the hospitals.
It's too much. It's too much. This gun thing. I have half a mind to go into the Irish consulate and be like, this was a 100-year experiment on the part of my family, and it's over. We're coming home.
Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah, this was an interesting oil rig to spend a century on. I don't know what possessed my fucking ancestors to do this, but I'd like to come back, please.
You might have to say, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get me the fuck off this continent.
I can't fucking stay around here anymore.
And I'm trying to think if they would even be offended by doing a fake brogue just to try and win them over. But they would probably be like, it's not bad. I have some notes.
If you wear like a all green from head to toe.
Top hat, buckle shoes.
Yeah, you're walking in there doing your stumpy walk.
Shillelagh.
Stumpy clown walk.
Like,
they might be charmed.
Yeah. I'd like to go home now.
Please. But all of that is a good or segue, or something you said like probably 10 minutes ago at this point, is a brilliant segue into fatherly advice. Your fatherly advice for the week.
Oh, wonderful.
Can we move over to that?
Yes. Fatherly advice.
Help me, Daddy. Fatherly advice. Help me, Daddy. Fatherly advice.
Brendan, what is your fatherly advice?
Here's my fatherly advice, Jeffrey. I will give you my fatherly advice, my friend. Although it's too late for you and I. I'm 25 years late for us. That's the problem. I need a time machine.
But this is for our younger listeners.
This is for our younger listeners. Younger listeners, if you're out there, as you're just getting out of college or what have you, listen very carefully.
Yeah.
Get a job in corporate America for your 20s. Look at your 20s. By the way, there's no difference between 30 and 20. Literally none. There is no difference. Like, when you're 30, you'll still party all the time. You'll look exactly the same as you look now. You'll be a little smarter, and life will be exactly the same. So don't see 30 as like late for anything or over the hill or anything like that.
You're good till 38.
You're good till 38, exactly. 30,
yep.
You have 8 more years when you're 30 to still party your nuts off before you have to get married and settle down, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're 20, get a job in corporate America. Don't follow your fucking dream. Don't have dreams. Your dream right now is just get a goddamn job, something that pays well and has vertical, upward mobility. Then get a camper trailer, park it in the garage of your job, and live in that camper trailer. Figure out a shower. You're smart. Then eat canned beans. Don't drink alcohol. Don't go to the movies. Don't do anything. And put 90% of your income into an index fund. 90%. Starve yourself almost to the brink of death for 10 years, putting that money in an index fund, and retire at 30 and eat and fuck for 50 straight years.
Wow. That is discipline, Brendan. Can you imagine having that discipline?
Yes, because it then becomes like free solo, basically. It becomes, once you get started and you see the money stack up in your savings and realize you're building a war chest that will allow you to literally have the life of anyone's dreams for 50 straight years of playing hooky, then you can be like, oh, I can keep doing this. I can just do it just for one more day of like this insane thing I'm doing, because it becomes like one of those extreme challenges like rock climbing or whatever, hang gliding and shit like that.
Interesting. This is, so are you getting laid during these 10 years?
Don't do it. No time. You'll have there's plenty of sex waiting for you when you are a rich bon vivant.
When you don't want it.
Right.
When you no longer,
you're no longer
care
interested.
about it. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely don't date. That's where all the money goes.
Listen, if you can do that, more power to you. Here's what's going to happen at the end of those 10 years. If this were me, is that you're going to be so crushed by this whole thing that you've been doing for 10 years that you'll lose sight of the goal, and then you'll just be striving to climb up the ladder, and you'll become like a fucking miserable old miser, and you will never take that time to enjoy everything you've been working towards.
Right. Just as you're trying to get out, just as you announce your retirement, someone will be like, well, we thought you might make a good executive vice president of Dougal Dangles in outer Siberia. And you're like, well, it is a really good opportunity, and it's a nice title.
Yeah. And it's like being, it's like being in prison. Like you're like, well, this is all I know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You got to get out somehow. So maybe you have to arrange for your own abduction.
Okay. At what point? At 30?
No, in the beginning. Yeah, at 30. But in the beginning, like 10 years from now, you hire 10 years from now, you're going to abduct me. And then you burn their contact information.
Yes. And then you go through a rigorous system of deprogramming for like the first 6 months. So at 30 and a half is when you start living.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to get that. You're going to have to take some time, I think.
Yeah, they take you
after this stretch.
You'll have enough money at this point. So where they take you is like a rehab place in Italy.
Right.
And you're just staring at the ocean.
Or your own private island.
Or
maybe that's where you're putting all this money into, like the island, and then at 30 the island becomes a reality, and then you just go and you start your own society.
Oh, can you imagine?
And it's a pyramid scheme, and then you get the new 20-year-olds on your island just work for your corporation.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't advise other people to do this. You then you build some sort of empire.
Yeah, then you're working at that.
Oh, then you're working again. Yeah, that's true. No, the whole point is that you're just eating in restaurants and going to the movies from here forward.
I love it.
30 on.
I wish I had that discipline. I had nothing even remotely. I didn't even have a 401k until I was 35. Like I worked for companies that had 401ks, and I was like, future? Nah.
Yeah,
who needs a future?
Yes.
It'll be $5 extra in my pocket each week. I think I would prefer that beer.
I know, right? And then it's like $5 extra that week that would become $7,000 each in the 50 years later, whatever. It's so infuriating. If I could just go back in time and smack myself around, God, the things I would do.
God. Yeah. Well, it's a fantastic advice, though.
Thank you. What's yours?
I have completely different fatherly advice. This is for families, anyone in a family out there. And that is watch Survivor. Get yourself a Hulu subscription. They've got like 20 seasons of Survivor that you can plow through. Survivor, our family is obsessed with Survivor. Survivor is one of the best television programs of all time.
Really? I remember being obsessed with it in the 90s.
Oh my God, it's so good. Every season is so good. The human drama of Survivor. And let me tell you what the secret is. It's Jeff Probst. Jeff Probst is a master therapist. Like, he is just like, he's so good at like asking the questions and like getting into people's heads and like creating this drama like in their group discussions. And he's like, but he's very intelligent as well. Like he just gets it. He's like he's just an amazing host. And I think that's what sets it head and shoulders above any other reality show, in that it's like, it's not like, I think the drama of it is enough. And I'm sure there's always manipulation in these things. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's not just all self-contained drama, but like the drama of the situation and what they have to do is enough that I don't feel like they have to create a lot of the drama. So like just watching what's actually happening and then hearing them talk about it is riveting. It's riveting television.
Wow.
And there's like, so there's a season they like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. It's been on for like almost 20 years at this point. I think it's in its 40th season.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know. And maybe they do 2 seasons a year. I don't know, 2 or 3. But there's a season a few years ago where they did the first one we watched when we started getting back into the show, where they did beauty versus brawn versus brains.
Oh, I remember that one.
So 3 different tribes. Mm-hmm. And it's so riveting. Like every week is unexpected. And I was cheering, like, I don't know how people feel when they watch sports, but I'm imagining the way I feel watching Survivor is how most people feel watching sports, where I'm just like, oh no.
What team were you for? Were you for brawn?
No, brains, of course. But the brains are a fucking mess. Like they're a disaster. They're like legendarily one of the worst tribes of all time in Survivor history. But there's all this inside, like, so now like the people who are competing, like everyone who's on Survivor now is a Survivor fanatic. So like they've studied like 15 years of Survivor, and there's all these tactics that people know. And, you know, and all this shorthand, like a goat, like if you're at some point, I don't even know where this came from, but at some point they developed this word that if you're dragging along a loser to the finals with you, then that person is known as the goat. And so they're like, I'm bringing Cass along because she's a goat. And she's like, I'm not a goat. You're a goat. And it's just like, it's so good. I cannot like, and as a family thing, it's just riveting. I will say this, having said all that, one caveat is that definitely there are moments when you can tell that this is produced by a right winger. Like,
oh, interesting.
There are definitely stereotypes that come in to play that are just like subtle. And I don't know if they're even intentional, but like they definitely, like, there are like the beauty versus brawn versus brains. Like there's a black woman who like everyone cast as the crazy person. Uh-huh. And like, I'm just like, what are you choosing to show about this person?
Right.
You know, that we don't like that we're not seeing like the 90% of the time when she's completely rational.
Right.
We see exactly. The 10% of, you know, so that we can turn her into a villain in our heads.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So there's that to it.
And churning out recognizable archetypes and that kind of thing. Is that the idea where it's right wing? Yes. In terms of just like, this is our society. This is exactly like, there's nothing to imagine as being different. It's just, it just confirms your worst suspicions about something or something like that. Is that what it is?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, there are definitely like here's the other good thing about it in that is that like it gave us a lot of fodder for discussion with the kids. Like watching this. So there's another on that same season. There's like a cop who is the most low down dirty guy in the game. Like he's just always lying to everyone. And, you know, and it's like, like he's sort of positioned as a hero in the way they frame it, but then we are able to talk to the kids and be like, do you see his behavior? Like, is that what you would expect from a policeman? Like, is that what policemen should do? Like, why would we think that he's a completely decent and honest and upstanding guy in his regular life if this is what he's doing in his spare time, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Good point.
So there's like, if you're willing, if you want to have those talks with the kids, like it's a perfect setup for some of those conversations as well. Like even as it might be playing into some of these archetypes.
Wow. This is very interesting.
I can't say enough good things about it. I think it's just because like, I feel like we've tried with a million, like, you know, we watched that Lego Masters, like, and I mean, it was cool seeing what they built. You watched that, right?
I did. Yeah. We loved it.
But I like the whole, like, I feel like fucking, what's his name? You know, Will Arnett was just like, felt like coked up and like flop sweaty the entire time to me. I found like none of the couples were compelling to me. They were all like, and it just felt like, it just feels so staged.
And the ones who won were the Christian fundamentalists. So
Yes,
like
of
Legos of course also did this thing, or Lego Masters did this thing where they also reinforce society's structures.
Yes, exactly. But Survivor does not do that. Like there's a lot of nothing. There's a lot of stuff hanging out under the surface. It's not facile. It's like it's depth. It's got depth to it, you know?
Wow. Jesus. Under the radar. I didn't realize it had still been on since 1999 when that one lady told off the other lady.
No, we didn't either. And we just started watching it. I was like, there were 2 seasons on Netflix and I was just like, yeah, we'll watch an episode of Survivor. And the kids were just like riveted. And I'm like, oh, we're going the whole way with this thing. So
have you watched A Man vs. Wild with them?
I haven't. No.
Have you watched it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh,
this is Bear
Bear Grylls. I did a whole deep dive on that one. That is hard to turn away from. Just
interesting.
Amazing.
And it's just one guy and his camera?
Yeah. No. He has a crew. But but there was another guy, I guess, later who did just himself and a camera and got himself into some scrapes. But Bear Grylls is always doing crazy shit, like falling through ice and having to find his way back out and stuff like that. And
what? The cameras go down with him under the ice?
Yeah. It's all sorts of crazy. He's a nutcase. Having to drink water out of a giant ball of elephant shit.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, see, that's rough.
Getting stung by scorpions.
Which I'm sure I have not seen, and that may very well be riveting. The reason why Survivor to me is like super compelling is because it is almost the opposite of that, in that it's like just ordinary people who like don't know how to do all that shit.
Oh yeah. And it's the human drama, I would imagine, and betrayal that is the thing that draws you
absolutely
in. Yeah.
Oh, because they're like playing, like from the minute they get on the island now, they're like forming alliances and they're like backstabbing each other, and it's I don't know, it's riveting television. I say for families with, you know, Eli's 6, Hazel's 10. Like, I feel like they're both Eli's a little bit young. He's not that interested in it, but Hazel's like at a perfect age. She's like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And so that's my fatherly advice to the families out there.
I see.
Watch Survivor.
I love it. The human lessons in the human drama of Survivor.
Exactly. Shall we move into Get Off My Lawn?
Oh, yes. Get off my lawn.
Hey kids, get off of my lawn. Your fucking lawnmower is turning my lawn purple, and I don't want a punk rock lawn. Yeah.
What do you? Oh, Jeffrey, we have those cups. What do you got there? You got a little smoothie that was made in your house?
A little smoothie. We got for Christmas a bullet smoothie maker.
Yep. We have one of those.
It's a game changer.
Yep.
Like, no matter how good your blender is, you're not getting it this blended.
Oh no! Yes, you're absolutely right. And there's the ice crushing bullet attachment now too that they have. We got a bullet for Christmas last year from my sister-in-law, and it changed everything. It is we're daily smoothie drinkers in this house.
Wow! And do you do it just for a meal? Do you like That's breakfast now?
Yeah, but once or twice a week when it's dinner time, we'll be like, should we just do smoothies and popcorn for dinner? Okay.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah. But we put spinach in the smoothie, so we get whatever we need, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. Yes. Just fill it full of spinach. Spinach is like such an innocuous smoothie addition that like you can just fill it full of spinach, like way more spinach than you think you need.
Yep.
And you don't taste a thing. It
You don't
just
taste a thing.
still tastes delicious.
Are you freezing bananas? That's the big trick.
We got some frozen bananas up in our fridge. Sure.
Yep. We have a shopping cart full of bananas now. Freeze half of them, and then it's like you got the frozen berries, the spinach. We buy powdered milk for it.
Oh, don't do that. Ooh, that's nice.
Oh, and for Christmas, my other sister-in-law gave us a whipped cream can maker thing, like from a restaurant. It's silver thermal, and it has like little.
You can do whippets.
What's that? Yeah, whippets. It's little tiny gas canisters you screw on, and then it's makes whipped cream toppers for your smoothies.
Oh my God, Brendan, next level. That's a fatherly advice right there. Get a bullet.
Get a bullet
Your
and get
your
a
family will
whipped
never
creamer. A cream
Your family
whipper.
will never go hungry again.
You'll never go hungry again. It is pretty fantastic.
Wait, but so do you just put heavy cream into it, and then it turns it into whipped cream?
Yeah, on the spot. You shake it, and then it has this little bullet gas canister thing that, if it were the size of a loaf of bread, would make you feel like you were in a world war if they were like strewing the countryside. But they're tiny, and you screw those onto the top, and then squeeze the bullet thing, and the gas is forced into the cream as it comes out through the little nozzle, and it gives you two different nozzles. And he's like, and it looks like you're in a hotel having Belgian waffles.
Oh my God. Here's the thing though. I would get that device, and like as with our Soda Stream, and I would never know where to go for the refills, and then we just never use it again.
Yeah, once we run out of these bullets, this thing's junk.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, what are we gonna do? Find more?
Yeah, come on. In this day and age, how would one even go about it?
Right, you have to go to
purchasing an item.
There's like the train goes by Los Angeles Drop Forge that looks like a very industrial place with steam coming out. You probably have to go to a Drop Forge, your local Drop Forge.
Yeah, you probably have to go and like hunt, like go on like some kind of a gas hunt in the woods to like the place where the gas is dispensed.
Oh, right, and escapes the ground. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Okay, get off my lawn. You have a very interesting get off my lawn this week. Let's hear it.
Right, and I don't know quite even how to describe this, but speaking of TikTok, so I'm all over the TikTok. It's fun. It's all kind of stuff. But there's also
You do the ticking and the talking.
I've been ticking and talking. There's a way in which there are, as you scroll around, there are these a lot of people just do dances or it's lip sync or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And whatever's popular, especially if you go in when you haven't logged in, so they don't know your algorithm. Now, if I log in, it's all anti-Trump stuff because they figure you out very quickly, and they figured out I just like fucking hate Trump, and I want to meet other people that hate Trump. So now it's all Trump. But if you don't log in, you get the goofy shit where it's this guy named Jason Derulo who does like goofy lip sync stuff and like funny gags and stuff like that. Or a lot of young women will do lip syncing and dancing and, sexy dancing kind of. And
Brendan,
I know, but like, as I'm looking at this, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like some of these, they look really, they're very young. And I'm like, well, oh my God, what the fuck? Like it's almost disturbing. And
Cuties. What was that?
That TV show?
The French movie that got all the.
Oh, right. And everyone was all up in arms about it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I say disturbing because it's important that I find it disturbing because I'm like a fuddy-duddy. I'm learning this about myself. What I'm coming to realize, and on the Twitter and the pronouncements and things like that, is like people, the young, the generation that's like in college and below are very standing in their sexual power in a way that we never would have, and
sure.
And it's actually pretty inspirational. And they're like this, and I saw this one young woman sort of providing a lecture about like going off about how some incel guy had said something like, how come you're sexy sometimes, and then other times you're not sexy, and I'm supposed to go back and forth or something like that. Like he couldn't square the circle of like sometimes a person wants to feel sexy and another time a person wants to be taken seriously.
I thought you were supposed to be a feminist. Like
So
why do you like sex?
Right, exactly. So some incel had like prompted this young woman to then lay out the argument, and she laid it out in this way. I was like, I've never heard it put that way. And what she said was, it's like a boxing match. If you and I met in the boxing ring and pounded each other, and one of us won, so be it. But then if I saw you the next day on the street and I punched you in the face, you'd be like, what the fuck? And you're like, what? We were boxing in the boxing ring yesterday. Why can't I punch you in the face now? And I was like, oh, I totally get. Like, that's a great way to explain it. Like, it's different arenas. I get it. Oh, meaning like in the boxing ring, that's where like we're in a nightclub and being all sexy with each other. But outside the nightclub is outside the boxing ring. And so you can't approach me as if I'm like a sexual object just because I chose to be one in the boxing ring / nightclub.
I see. I guess the way where I'm getting hung up on the analogy is that I'm sure her sexy side and her theoretical side are both occurring in the same forum, which is on TikTok, right? Like, so there's no change of venue in her version. Well, in the thing that she's analogizing to, right? But I think her point was not so much venue change, but mode change and code change. Code changing. So anyway, I was like, oh, that's a great way to put that. I mean, it's not like I hope I've never had any trouble with this kind of shift or whatever, but for the incels of the world. But anyway, what it all speaks to is there's this, for lack of a better word, sexual revolution going on among the young that seems really positive and healthy in a way that is only shining a light on how fucking repressed I personally can speak to myself having been growing up. Maybe I don't know what it is, but like my lack of my primitiveness in terms of these kind of things is becoming really high lit by the ownership that the young people are demonstrating over their sexuality. And if I were that age, I would worry I would be no match, but maybe I would have a different set of information so that I could navigate the sort of this whole new world. But there is a new world on the march sexually in the United States, perhaps the world. And it is coming and it's wonderful. It's coming for all of us. No pun intended. Hey, but okay. Do you know for a fact that this is some kind of a mass movement, or is this just you're seeing it overrepresented in the smart algorithmic TikToks that you're being directed towards? Oh, damn it! You're probably right. Because I don't know. I just don't know what like. I feel like the '60s was the sexual revolution, right? And like. Was that actually like, did that get us anywhere? Where does this stuff ever get us anywhere? Is there any progress, Brendan? Or are we just regurgitating the same stuff? And then 90% of society is so stupid that they're going to watch this and they're going to be like, oh, that means I can be in porn movies and be exploited by pimps, is that where most people are like what's the reality there? How good at perspective are most humans? That's the question. Yeah. And it's it's perspective, it's imagination. Right. There's always going to be the answer, which is dumb. Yeah. Yeah. Is that does it all go down to dumb? Does it all come down to dumb? How strong is dumb in your country? How strong is dumb? I mean, yeah, because I mean that's what like a lot of this is like. So Anita Sarkeesian, the person, or I think there are a couple of different people, but she's the one whose name I know, who started who everyone was sort of against in Gamergate, right? Like she just started making videos about how Lara Croft is sexualized, basically. And like gamer guys got pissed off. Like, what are you talking about? It's a video game. There's no actual like real world like commentary happening, which is then absurd. Yeah, and then now we have Donald Trump, and now we have an entire nation of fascists rising up. You know, it's like, not that it's her fault, but just like, how equipped are most people to handle this information, this real, true information that these people may be dispensing, and like, how quickly does it just all go pear shaped? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, right.
Like, what's the exploitation to freedom factor of like dating apps, I wonder.
Yeah. It's this chaos of stupidity and the stupidity of chaos. And so and we might be living in a world a la what I was talking about last week with Clay Shirky and the printing press, where it's just going to be like the stupid will rise to the top. I wonder, and ignorance will that's sad. I know, because I'm still in a mode where I'm like, the 60s, people will come together and positively will triumph. And they're like, well, maybe stupidity will triumph. Motherfucker.
Yeah, maybe. I'm sorry. I don't mean to rain on your sex parade, brother. Like, I love the idea. I definitely think, I mean, we're definitely seeing a revolution in identity, right? Like it's a very different world out there for kids in terms of like what how free they are to be themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's universal. I'm sure, like, you know, a giant percentage of the gay boys out there are still going to be called fag, like, you know, in middle school and high school. Like, you still have to have like that extra level of confidence, I think, in yourself in order to like in order to become that kid who's like, yeah, that's the gay kid. Everyone loves the gay kid. Like, that's an exceptional kid still.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's probably still a lot of like, because kids are going to find like whatever your weak point is and exploit it. That's not going away.
Right. Fuck.
So, but as a society, but then I don't know, man. Then you think about how we were raised on Sesame Street. Like, you would think we would be the most like diverse, like multicultural friendly nation in the world, because all of us grew up watching Sesame Street, which has these lovely positive messages, you know?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Except for the fundies who would probably see Sesame Street as communist or something like that.
Maybe. I don't know. I never, like, that's the thing. Like, growing up, I never, do you know about a controversy behind Sesame Street? I feel like the nation was pretty much aligned on, this is where we're putting our values.
Right.
Like, we had sort of a universal national value system. One of those being multiculturalism, right? Like,
right.
That was definitely like in the zeitgeist. Like, it was everything on television. It was all the books we were read to growing up. Like, you know, but there was also like this still underlying thing where it was just like, that's bad. That's not real. That's like something we're being force fed. I don't know. Does this relate to what you're saying? I don't know. I might be on a tangent here.
Well, and what strikes me is sort of like the multiculturalism, the sort of ham-fisted multiculturalism of the 80s was all very white gazy also. You know?
Yes.
And so
absolutely.
how much harm did it do in addition to how much good it did is another question, where we all wind up being these sort of like well-meaning idiots who have it all wrong.
Right. And then are even less inclined to hear that we're doing something wrong, because it's like, I watch Sesame Street. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Exactly. That we have yet much more to learn is a very, exactly. And if we're in the halls of power, of cultural power on the coasts, and we are reticent about having something to learn, then it makes it almost worse, because we feel like we have enough of a foothold. We're like, well, yeah, because I watch Sesame Street, I believe in all the right things, so therefore I won't grow anymore. And then we're just in the way.
Yes. And I won't grow anymore, and that's why it's okay for me to not want a black family to move in next door and lower my property values.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because my heart is in the right place.
Yeah. So I feel very comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
Yes. which leads into that sort of leads into my get off my lawn. I have two. I think I'm going to ignore one of them, which I'm being a negative example of the thing that I'm sort of rallying against today. But my second thing is I'm just get off my lawn. I just us being, I don't know. We walk a fine line on this show, I think, Brendan, sometimes. We both have our, I think I probably have a little bit more sympathy. I think politically we're probably like 99%, if not 100% aligned on what happens to what is needed in this country. I think I probably tend to have a little bit more sympathy for the notion of centrism than you do.
I can guarantee that you do if you have any.
Yes, I do. I do have sympathy for it. I sympathize with structures being difficult to change. So that's that. But one thing that I really, we can fall into this trap sometimes ourselves, but I really don't want to keep falling into this trap, which is being, we have another cat pun. I'm sorry.
Oh, great.
I just came in with another cat
This
pun.
just in.
Yeah.
Thank you. And is he photoshopping this stuff too?
I think Sarah's photoshopping it. Love you too, Eli. For him. They're just sitting out there making cat pun posters.
That's pretty awesome.
But anyway, the thing that I see in the younger generation, which I really it makes my skin crawl a little bit, is just the dominance of cynicism, the disdain for having any kind of hope, like the instant pile on of anyone who shows like any form of earnestness, particularly on Twitter. Like, I feel like there is a, maybe this has always been the case, but there's a cool detachment in like being cynical that is applauded, I think, in politically minded younger generation. And specifically I'm referring to the dirtbag left, the Chapo Trap House sort of
Oh yes, right.
people among us.
Yeah.
And I just like I want to be I want to have all the feels. I want to be earnest. I want it to be okay, to care, to give a shit, to like believe that maybe things can get better, to like find a thing that's not terrible about the thing that's happening around me. You know what I mean? Like, and there is so much terrible, of course, but it's like, I want to believe, I want to retain hope. I don't immediately, the minute Joe Biden like gets into office, and even already, it's already started where people are like questioning his every move. I just want to be able to be like, yeah, maybe he'll do okay. Maybe it won't be a complete like centrist disaster. Maybe like there is hope that like he recognizes how far off track we are, and he will like make moves to like put us back in the right direction. You know, there is a possibility of good things coming, and like, it's not, I just don't want to fixate on the one guy he put in his cabinet who's like, you know, worked for corporate lawyers, when over the 10 people he put in the cabinet who are like actually pretty badass and amazing people, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I can see that. I see what you mean. Depends on where in the cabinet. Like Tim Geithner and Larry Summers, when Obama put them in the cabinet, that was very upsetting.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying don't criticize bad moves, but it's just like, I think there's this instant rush to like vilify almost the people who we need on our sides, the people that we need to put our hope in. And then I'm just like, well, what's left? Like how is that any different than the nihilism of the right?
Right.
You know?
Well, when you're up against such a cancerous foe as the right, that's the tricky part. Is he like, my concern is that he would do what Obama did by squandering the first 2 years with both houses and be like, I want to reach across the aisle, and then the Republicans just take a shit on everything and sit there.
Yeah.
And so they lose all that ground, and then get voted out.
Sure, that's a fine concern, but has it happened? Like, I feel like we don't have this, like, there's just no faith. There's no, like, yeah, maybe he's a fucking old guy. He doesn't have anything to lose right now. I mean, I know he's saying he wants to reach across the aisle. Like, nothing has happened. So, like, to me, that's what you say. That's politics. That's diplomacy. That's like being like, yeah, we're going to reach across the aisle. And then the minute he gets, the minute he tries that and it doesn't work, we'll see what happens.
Oh, I see.
I don't want to write him off. Like, everyone is just like, yeah, he's a fucking, like, he's just garbage, like, same as everyone else. They're just never going to do anything right. And I already have no hope for the next 4 years. And this is why he's terrible.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like,
yes. Yeah.
I'm just like, just fucking, like, give us, we're breaking out of something here, man. Like,
yes, that I know. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I follow some person on Instagram who's been down on Joe Biden for a long time, and I'm like, okay, calm down. Yeah. Yes, sure. He's not Bernie Sanders, but calm down for now. Like, let's wait a little bit.
And I'm fine with. I mean, it's like it's a difficult thread. A difficult needle to thread, because, like, you just can't be like, I mean, these are fucking people doing a job. Everyone loses sight of that. Like, when we talk about politics, like, it's all fucking cult of personality, idol worship. Like, we want them to be superheroes. Mm-hmm. We expect they're going to come in and solve the problem, but it's just people doing a fucking job. We all have jobs. None of us are any good at any of them. No one is good at their job. Like, if he's 10% good at his job, I will be I'll be blown away,
Yeah.
Like, Obama, like, I felt okay with Obama for 8 years. Like, that's all I want to feel is okay.
Right. And be even a little bored.
Feel okay.
Yeah. And not that interested in reading about the latest white paper from the Policy Institute or whatever it is.
Yes. I mean, I know, again, then people go back to that's privilege. Like, you can't opt out. And I'm just like, so then, like, every day we're supposed to be like, but I am opting out because all I'm doing is reading about this shit on Twitter. It's not like I'm out in the streets making a difference.
Our heads have been forcefully held under the surface of a fucking cesspool for 4 years. It would be nice to breathe a little bit and not live in such interesting times for a while. Yes. And to feel like, oh, you know what? I went and planted some trees in my, like, school garden. Like, I am helping out. Like, that's the amount of help you should be doing. Right. We are all only capable of helping in the micro anyway. So help in the micro. Right. Instead of, like, thinking that you're helping people by getting on Twitter and being an asshole to and telling off Lauren Boebert as much as she deserves it. Well, you can do that. You can do that. She needs to be in a prison. Yeah, she absolutely. Her and that other crap garbage. Mo Brooks and just all those sons of bitches. 150 people or 190 people? What was the number of Republicans who are traitors? Yeah, like, what did they? These people are just like, yeah, we want 4 more years of this. Is that what they're saying? It's just amazing. I mean, the question is, we haven't heard much from the this side of the Republican Party in many years, except for Mitt Romney and Ben Sass. So maybe they can form a coalition of two and stand against the Jun hordes, but I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know, man. Murkowski, I guess you could maybe. That turncoat. Her and fucking, what's her name from Maine? Ugh. Yeah. Soft. Susan Collins. I don't know, man. No. But we're getting negative. I'm preaching hope. I'm preaching hope here, brother. I like it. I just think, I mean, not even Joe Biden specifically, like, even like I feel like it's just all over. It's just all over the map. Like, I feel like the dirtbag left is just as big of assholes to AOC. They're like, they call her like a teeny bopper or whatever. It's just like too much. There's just
there's no satisfying these people. And again, they're just people doing a fucking job. It's like AOC has said some stuff I disagree with. That's okay. She still seems like her heart's in the right place. She's doing a good job. It's like
democracy is messy and imperfect.
Yes. And yes, we all want this, like this Ubermensch to be like leading us, and they don't exist, people. They don't exist.
Except for Bernie Sanders.
Oh, Jesus fucking, don't even start with that. This old guy, this old motherfucker, Bernie Sanders.
Nikki Haley said some tweet where like, good, oh great, now we have Bernie Sanders who's going to bring like universal health care and listed all these things that would be awesome. Climate, like fighting climate change. Get ready, everybody. And I'm like, great, that sounds awesome. Thanks, Nikki Haley.
Yeah. Sounds. I will go for all of that.
Yeah.
We won't be dying in gulags. Oh, what a shame. I was really looking forward to dying in a gulag.
Right. Of climate change related disasters.
A gulag of climate change related disasters, please. Oh, it'll happen anyway. Don't. Yeah. You'll be okay, Nikki Haley.
Jeffrey.
Yes.
I think we should I think this is a wonderful place to say have a great week to you.
Yes, I think you're right. And to Nikki Haley.
And to
all
Nikki
the people
Haley.
Out there in there. Am I using the word gulag correct?
Is that a Russian prison? A Russian
I thought so.
Military prison?
So. Yeah, I thought so. Whatever. But okay. Yes,
oh, that's a stalag. That's a stalag.
No, labor camps. Sure.
Labor
okay,
camps.
I was using it properly. Great. Okay, good. Well, we learned something too.
We did learn something.
All right, Brendan. Have a lovely Sunday.
Jeffrey, it's always a pleasure to see you.
You as well.
Good night.